Now this year I have to say I'm keeping things pretty simple as far as supplies and techniques go. I'm all about simplifying my Christmas card process. So I'm using this nested Christmas tree die from Waffle Flower. I like it because you have all the sizes you really need for an A2 size card. And I cut it out of some dark green cardstock. Can't get much simpler than this. I decided to raise it up a bit onto some foam tape, but if you're creating bulk cards, you may choose just to glue or adhere it onto the front of your card to make things a little bit easier and less bulky for the mail. Every country I find has a stipulation of how thick a card can be, so you got to be careful. And I'm just going to add this to the bottom of my card. Now, I was thinking of die cutting little elements like ornaments and candy canes, and then it came to my head that I could easily just use some Nuvo Drops. For me, much quicker and easier. If you find you're getting peaks in your Nuvo Drops, don't forget to just throw it in your armpit or under your leg to warm them up a little bit. It usually means that your actual Nuvo Drops are too cold. And I'm not using anything special here. A red, a blue, and I don't even know what I'm talking about. A red, a green, and a white. There we go. Basic colors. And I'm going to create sort of like a garland effect that's wrapping around the tree. When you're done, you could make this part really easy. I wanted to add the bottom of the tree. You could easily grab a piece of brown cardstock. You could take it a step further, put in a wood grain embossing folder over that brown cardstock, and just add a tree stem to the bottom. However, I decided to just continue on with this Nuvo Drops trend, and I used a copper sort of shade of Nuvo Drops and just created a little stem for the tree. I like the way that it turned out. Now, a quick note about Nuvo Drops. As much as they seem dry to the touch within an hour or two, you do want to let these sit overnight with nothing on top of them. They will flatten if you lay another piece of cardstock on top or a second card, even if they feel dry. They are enamel, and it's a lot cheaper than going out and buying a pack of enamel dots, but we do have to give them the drying time they need. So at the very least, 24 hours. Now, a few days ago, over on the 12 Days of Christmas free course throughout the month of November, it's in the video description below if you want to check that out, I posted about easy bulk sentiments, and this is one of them. So from The Ton, this is a bulk sentiment that when you stamp the one stamp, you get that black stamp that I just stamped. It is a very clear font, very normal printed font, and then it comes with a second stamp that you can layer over top by lining up those squares and rectangles, and that has a nice scripty font to it, which I had a really great time heat embossing, so I had a two-tone look. So I had black ink and then gold embossing, which looked pretty cool. I melted the embossing powder, and the best part about this die is that it die cuts in one shot, so the die cuts all these sentiments out at the same time. Probably one of the handiest things there are when it comes to bulk card making, for sure. There are a few companies that have these right now, and I discuss more about that in the video over on day 3 of the 12 Days of Christmas. Okay, so here is my Christmas tree, and it is nearly dry, so I will go ahead and put in my sentiment here just by gluing it on top. I've gone ahead and let these drops sit overnight, and you can see they do shrink a little bit compared to when they were just completely wet there. At this moment in time, I was completely done and thought that my sentiment would just hold with liquid glue, which is a little bit ridiculous. So I went ahead and added some 3D foam to the back of my sentiment. Because those Nuvo Drops dry hard and 3D, it didn't really make sense to attach this with some liquid glue. So adding the 3D pop dots really made a difference and allowed the sentiment to sit where it should, just in the center of the tree with a Happy Holidays sentiment. I wanted to add a little bit more shine to the card and more excitement, so I went ahead and glued this onto an A2 size card front, 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. So have a nice 1/2 inch border around the sides. Now, if you want to learn more about those Nuvo Drops and several other ways that you could stretch your Nuvo Drops, be sure to check out this video here. Meet me over there to learn even more.